Guys! What's going on? What's going on?
Entertain the Geeky.
Hello there.
Hello.
We have scoured the internet.
Scoured. It was real hard. We had to look real hard to find all this information.
To find videos on the new Zelda gameplay.
Yes, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming out in May.
So, yeah, I mean, we can just jump right into this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sequel to, first of all, it's a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, which has only been done a couple of times in Zelda history.
Mm-hmm.
Link's Awakening was technically a sequel to A Link to the Past. Majora's Mask was a sequel to
Ocarina of Time. Yeah.
And the Oracle games from Game Boy Advance were connected. Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. Their connections were more subtle. I think they were, I don't remember. I haven't played those in a long time, but they were connected in some way. Tell us out there how they were connected, because I don't remember. But so it's interesting, first of all, to see a direct sequel to the previous Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, which came out, oh my God, way back in 2017 is when.
Is it that
Breath
old?
of the Wild came out. Yeah, 2017. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Holy shit.
And here we are in 2023, finally about to play the sequel.
That game was huge, though.
Yes, it was. It was a very big open world Zelda game that I think harkened back to the very first Zelda game, where they gave you your sword and then they just said, go explore. Breath of the Wild does it a little differently. Breath of the Wild gives you your abilities and then just says, go explore. You have objectives and, quests and stuff that you can go complete or go start, but you don't have to. I mean, the map is huge and there are 124 shrines all over littering the map that are basically just little puzzle rooms that you go into, you solve a puzzle, you get a reward.
Yeah, you can. That's one of those games that you can legitimately go into and get completely lost and have no idea how to really start the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. When I play that game now, when I leave the Great Plateau, I just start looking for shrines. I don't even do the nonsense stuff until I have the Master Sword. Because in that game, also, yes, you have the Master Sword, but you have to have 13 heart containers before you can draw it, because it requires your life to draw it. So you have to have at least 13. Yeah, it will kill you if you don't have 13 hearts. It doesn't kill you. The Great Deku Tree stops you before you die and says, hey, you're going to die. Go out there and find some more life force and then come back.
Wait.
The thing about it is, though, when you go to the Lost Woods area where you find the Master Sword and the Deku Tree, there are 4 shrines in that area. So if you go into that area needing just that one more heart container, it's there.
It's basically set up.
You just got to get those 4 shrines and you get that last heart container.
So while you were talking about that, it reminded me of when you would go get the guidebook back in the day.
Sure. Yeah.
I remember, like, you'd go, I think most of them were like $15 or $20 to get a guidebook for a game.
Yeah.
But it was like all of the secrets of the game.
Well, we proved many times throughout gaming history that all of the secrets they were being a bit generous with the word all.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, it was a very liberal all. They were or a conservative all, I guess is a better way to put that. They were very conservative with their all. Because yes, there was definitely other stuff.
More stuff to find that later we found out because we have the internet now.
Well, I mean,
we don't have to buy game guides anymore. We just have some guy on the internet who played the game and found literally everything.
When it's everything that he found and everything that Billy found and Sherry
and he
found.
Typed it all up and he put it on the internet.
Everybody's like,
for all of us to read.
Here it is. Yeah, this guy's put 700 hours into Zelda.
Yes.
So yes, he's found everything.
Yes,
everything.
Absolutely.
So
the sequel, So the sequel, I think in order to frame what the sequel is, it's important to talk a little bit about the mechanics of the first game. So in addition to, again, just kind of being a big wide world for you to go and explore, it changed a lot of things we had become accustomed to within Zelda games. It kept the stamina bar, which was introduced in Skyward Sword, which is fine. The stamina bar works fine, and it's a nice little thing to also keep track of and
adds another layer of difficulty to the game.
Yeah, into the game. You can't just find rupees and hearts by cutting some grass or breaking some pots. The game's economy actually starts out quite slow, where you have to kind of build up some money before you can buy better armor or better weaponry, or well, not weaponry, better, quality of arrows, bomb arrows and ice arrows and fire arrows and lightning arrows, all that stuff, right? So also weapons in the game, you can pick up weapons, enemies drop them, you can take them and you can add them to your inventory, but they all have durability. So they don't last forever. After a certain amount of time, a certain amount of use, the little icon flashes red and a little message will appear saying, hey, your weapon's about to break.
Yeah, your shit will break.
Yeah. Which, could be was considered by some players to be annoying in some ways, that even the Master Sword, once you get it in your possession, is not everlasting. It breaks and it has to recharge. So that was an annoyance to some people. I think right away in the sequel, one of the things we've seen in a lot of the trailers leading up to the gameplay trailer they showed off was the Master Sword gets broken early on in the game. Malice from Ganondorf's corpse kind of burns Link's arm and the Master Sword that he's holding in it. So I think they're taking the Master Sword out of the game. Either that or you're going to rebuild it and maybe make it stronger.
You must reforge the shards of the Narsil.
Yes, make it stronger. And maybe when you finally rebuild it,
then Andoril, flame of the rest.
They'll have fixed the idea that it breaks and just say, no, once you get the Master Sword back, it's just the Master Sword. It's a sword.
Cut Sauron down.
You know what I mean? Because that was a complaint that players had of the first game is, look, I understand all these little lowly man-made weapons. This is the Master Sword.
Right. Well, I mean, from a gameplay standpoint, like if you're spending this much time to procure that particular item, like, come on.
Yeah, and the second game seems like it will be rebuilding. The rebuilding of the Master Sword will be a part of its plot, which, fingers crossed this doesn't happen. A lot of people are worried that means we're going to see Fi again from Skyward Sword, the most annoying companion in all of Zelda history, even more annoying than the little fairy who yelled at you. Hey!
Yep.
Fi literally explained every single thing about the game to you, and then after her big long diatribe of dialogue, we would have her confirming that we got all of that. So then you had to say yes or no, and it defaulted to no for some reason. So if you were just speeding through the dialogue, you might have to listen to the whole thing again.
Oh, brutal.
They did that in Ocarina of Time too.
I was going to say, I remember it in Ocarina of Time.
They defaulted to no, I didn't get that. Why would you default to that? But
that is odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
They were being thorough.
Yes. But so we've seen the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild. We see the Master Sword glow and talk to Zelda, which we all know from the lore is Fi. Fi is inside the sword. Fi is the spirit that dwells within it. So she's what's speaking to Zelda. So there's speculation this might be the return of Fi. I hope that's not the case. And if it is the case, I hope they give us the option to tone down her annoying nature. Also, she'll probably have a voice now because everyone has a voice in Breath of the Wild except for Link and NPCs that you encounter.
Right.
All the main characters have voices. But so there's been, ups and downs. People love things about it. People hate things about it. Tears of the Kingdom can fix all of that based on what we saw in the gameplay trailer.
Can also introduce some new problems.
It can. There's no doubt. But the idea of fusion, which is something they introduced in the trailer, where you can take different ingredients and different weaponry and different items that you find in the world and fuse them together to create weaponry, to create vehicles. Something as lowly as a stick, right? A little stick that you're going to swing like a sword. It's a low little thing and it breaks after you swing it 3 times. It's terrible.
You can affix a rock to it.
Right. Aonuma shows us, the stick's almost broken. Well, I guess we'll have to throw it away. Wait, maybe we can do something else.
Let's make a hatchet.
And yeah, he fuses it to a boulder and makes like a hammer, which then has its own durability.
Yeah, different durability. Yeah,
right, a higher level of durability that the stick has on its own. So I wonder how far that extends, right? Can you make swords more durable?
Yeah, can you make them more swordy?
Right, exactly. Can we find ore metal deposits and make our sword stronger in that way?
Yeah, is there going to be a smithy to go visit?
Right, is there, and I think that's the question I think a lot of us that are excited to play this game have, right? Are the weapons I find that I enjoy going to be weapons that I can hold on to and
Right.
use for a little while and then reforge them or fix them in some way to replenish the durability that they have? So that when I find that one unique thing, because there are weapons and shields in Breath of the Wild that are unique. There's one of them. And if once it breaks, it's gone. You'll never get it again. There's one treasure chest that has it, and that's it. The kite shield is a good example. It's a weird, it looks like a kite. I mean, there's just no better way to describe it, but it's got like all the insignias and stuff on it. But there's one. It's a treasure chest in the desert somewhere, I think, or either in the desert or in the highlands near the desert. But that's it. There's just one.
Is yours broken?
No, I put mine on my wall in my house and just kept it. Because you have these little display things in your house that you can just put weapons and shields on. So the ones that you want to keep, you can just hang up. Like, these are my trophies.
You know how many hours it took me to find that thing?
So yeah, the second game can address those concerns, right? Can I use it until it's almost broken and then find a smith or fuse it with something in the world that will repair it in some way, or at least give it a longer lifespan?
There's with that part of the game in particular, it's wild because they took a game that they made that was relatively open to begin with. Like all the Zelda games have been very, very open games.
No, a lot of them are very linear, man.
Really?
Yeah, that's the reason Breath of the Wild was, for lack of a better term, a breath of fresh air.
Because I felt
because it wasn't linear.
I felt like even Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, like while they're not, I feel like they're relatively open while they're not
open world. So open world
there's no loading points.
I think there's levels, right?
Sure.
Yes. Does Ocarina of Time have an open world? Yes. But are there places in that open world you can't go until you've hit certain progression marks? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, that's fair.
A
That's
true
fair.
open world, I think, lets you just go wherever you want to go from the outset. Here's your sword. Go explore the world.
Good luck.
Every
Okay.
part of the map is accessible to you in some way or another, right? Some require you to do different things. In Breath of the Wild, it's wear different armors because if you go up high in the mountains, you'll be cold. So you got to get armor that protects you against cold. If you go to the volcano, you'll catch on fire. You got to get armor that protects you from catching on fire. But every place is accessible to you from the outset. And I think that's what that hasn't happened in a Zelda game since The Legend of Zelda from Nintendo.
Well, it's the thing that's been so impressive about it also is just how fucking big it is. It's huge.
Yes.
It's very, very big. For a Nintendo game at that,
It's the largest Zelda game they've ever created.
it's wild,
Yeah.
man. And then they're like, okay, so on top of all this stuff, you can just pick up shit. You
Yep.
see something, you fucking pick it up.
Yeah.
You don't-
Materials.
You don't like how it is now? Make it into something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Fusion, I think, is gonna change the way we play. And I think it's a natural progression of what players were already doing within Breath of the Wild's physics engine. Because that's what they did. They just created a physics engine. And they gave you a power where you can lift up metal objects with a magnet. So what people were doing, what I have done, is taken two of the magnetic carts, and set them on top of each other. And then use the magnet on the one below that you're not standing on. And you've created a flying machine where you can literally raise the metal and it will lift the one that's sitting on top of it into the sky, right? Because it doesn't register you as standing on it because you're technically not standing on it. You're standing on another one that's sitting on top of it. So I think what the devs saw in the creativity that some of the players came up with to do those things, they said, why don't we just build them a way to do that then?
Yeah, let's make Mario Builder.
Right. Let's build them in the game a way to just create things, create means of conveyance, find different ways around different problems. Because that's something that's fascinating about Breath of the Wild as a game. There are puzzle rooms that have different solutions. They're the same. It's the same puzzle room, but it's about how your brain perceives the puzzle. How I do the puzzle might not be the same as how you do the puzzle, but it doesn't make your way wrong or my way right.
It can be solved.
It can be solved
ways.
either way, right? And that was fascinating to me. I would look up, little videos of people doing them and seeing literally the same puzzle being done in
Totally
two completely
different,
different ways. Yeah. So I think that the creativity and how far players kind of stretched what they had built in the Breath of the Wild world is just something they're leaning into. Right? We want everybody to experience this how their brain thinks they should. So if there's a problem to solve, your solution is going to be different than my solution.
Go ahead, Vanilla Ice. Like,
Right.
you can do this.
Exactly. So within that, as far as creating, right, we see him in the video create a little boat, a little raft to get across the river. But in the trailer, we've seen a hot air balloon. We've seen a car. We've seen a little stone disc with those little repulsors attached at the corners, and it's just floating. Like, it's your imagination is going to allow you to do whatever you want within this game's engine.
Yeah, where will it stop is really the question there.
Well, I mean, it has an end, right? It will stop somewhere.
Right. But where is the ingenuity of the player going to end? Because obviously you're only going to have so many objects that you can have interacting with one another.
Sure.
But what if it was like, okay, I'm going to connect this river to this mountain?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Fusion.
No.
It's interesting. I want to see where they draw the lines with it.
Right.
And I think that's one of those things. There's going to be people that bitch about it. And there's going to be other people that are like, this is the greatest thing that they've ever done in a Zelda game ever.
I'm really excited to try it. I'm also excited with the idea that the Sky Islands is just a whole new map sitting right on top of the still
Hyrule,
huge Hyrule map that they built for Breath of the Wild. So a way to give you an incentive to re-explore the map of Breath of the Wild is now the land's connection to the sky. And at different points, how there are going to be ways to get to Sky Island. We saw one of them in the video when he rewinds a rock that had fallen off of one and rides it up. So interesting ways to use the map that we're already very familiar with in new ways, right? I'm 100% familiar with every inch of that Zelda map. I have spent way too much time hunting down Korok seeds to not be familiar with every inch of that map.
I know each blade of grass. God damn it.
The Switch does a terrible thing, and other systems have now followed suit, because if on my PlayStation 5, I can see how many hours total I've played a game.
Yeah.
And that's not good sometimes, because it makes you feel like a crazy person. I have literally spent over 300 hours playing Breath of the Wild.
I was going to say, it's a couple of things that it'll do to you. One, it depends on your motivational processes, but like if I see that I've spent 300 hours playing a game, I'm like, fuck, dude, that's 300 hours I could have spent doing fill in the blank.
Whatever.
Yeah. I could have been curing cancer for that 300 hours, but instead...
I'm not smart enough to cure cancer.
I'm not either, but you still, that's the scenario that you give to yourself. You're like, I could have learned quantum physics in that time or something stupid. Realistically, no, you couldn't, but you could have used that time learning guitar.
Yeah.
Game
systems have all started adopting it, and I don't like it. I'm going to be honest. And I don't think I'm alone in that. It's not a point of pride to say I've spent 600 hours playing a video game.
I remember looking in World of Warcraft and seeing...
It maybe is for some of you, and that's fine, right? Like if you have the 600 hours to play a video game and devote your time to it, great. I get mine in, intervals, but when you start tallying it as a running total... It makes me feel embarrassed.
How many years do you think you've gamed?
Too many.
Full years. You know what? If you added all the hours together.
No, I don't want to.
Well, so
that would be sad. That would be sad to find out you've spent like a third of your life doing this hobby.
Because you spend what's the amount of time sleeping? How much of your life is sleeping? It's an obscene amount of time.
Yeah, it's like a third of your time is sleep.
Yeah. So then another third was video games, and you've got one other third.
Got 1/3
that you
left
used to work.
That I work. Yeah. This life is great. This is a great life.
Tara has had a couple of like these teenage drama shows that she's been into.
Sure.
And I would watch them with her because I love her and she is my person and I'm her person.
Sure.
So we're watching this god awful series. Okay. And there's like 6 seasons of it. So you go through it And I ended up telling her one day, I'm like, you realize that I have lost days, not hours, days of my life to Pretty Little Liars.
Yes.
And she's like, I never really looked at it like
How
that.
many more days have you lost to Overwatch?
Oh, good amount.
Right?
Good amount.
Yeah, exactly. I think it balances it out. But
That's the funny thing with Overwatch. I'll get on and I'll play for an hour, and then I won't think about it for a week. And I've gone like months without playing before.
you're not a gamer, bro. I gotta have my games at least every day, if not every other day.
Yeah, no, I have my times, but I like to be competitive with it also. So like I took time away from Destiny. I came back to Destiny and they had added so much content and shit
Yeah,
that I was not competitive. And I was like, fuck this.
sure.
I don't even want to play. So I'm not playing it anymore. Because I was like, man, I'm going to go
The
through
grind
the
is
story.
real, man. The grind is
Oh,
real. If
it's
you want to keep up, you got to
fucking-
grind. You got to do it every day.
You want to keep up with the Joneses? I want a bigger house someday. You know, I can't spend 700 hours on Destiny just so I can shoot Billy in the face with a bow.
I understand. And again, I agree, right? Because again, seeing it all laid out, how many hours total I've spent playing a video game. The longest one on my PlayStation so far that I've seen was Batman Arkham Knight. I've played that game for like 200 hours.
That doesn't even surprise me at all.
Because not only do you play it through once, and there's a lot of stuff, right? It's like a 60-hour game to get everything in it. But then you have New Game Plus to play, which ups the difficulty and has you do all that stuff again. With the exception of collecting Riddler trophies, which thank God they don't make me collect Riddler trophies twice.
I love that you're like, I beat it, so I had to play it even harder.
Yeah. You gotta challenge yourself, man. I gotta get that nightmare difficulty. I gotta finish. There are certain games I don't do that on, right? I'm playing the Resident Evil 4 remake right now, and I don't care to ever play it on professional mode. I don't need to prove that to myself because I enjoy the game.
Are you ready to go to the proving grounds?
I'm not going to the proving grounds. I will not play the game on professional. I have done hardcore on Resident Evil Village, so I may give hardcore a try on the Resident Evil 4 remake. But professional, the mode above it, no, I don't care.
I did my time. I did my time.
I don't care about that.
That's
right?
so goddamn funny.
That is the mode where one hit can end you. And even a hit from a lowly enemy takes away 3/4 of your health bar, right? So no, I don't need to do that. I don't need to prove that to myself. I'm good. That sounds really frustrating. But
So I'm playing on professional mode.
I'm not doing it. But again, so kind of winding back around, right? I think, what is going to make this sequel to Breath of the Wild amazing is that it takes all of the things we were doing anyway and just makes them part of the game.
Integrates them very well.
Yeah. I hope they have given us a return to more traditional dungeons, maybe in the Sky Islands, where there's
that'd
like
be cool as
traditional
shit.
Zelda dungeons, where there's enemies and puzzles and a boss, and then you move on to the next one. Because they are bringing back Ganondorf. That is something we've seen in trailers. Ganondorf has been in some kind of mummified stasis.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have a dark theory, and I've heard other people say this on the internet, that they have, yes, out there on the internet, I've heard you, and I agree with your theory. Ganondorf was the reason Calamity Ganon has been for years and years rising again to destroy Hyrule is because they've literally been keeping Ganondorf, the physical manifestation of Ganon, locked in a dungeon, and they've been siphoning off the energy that he generates naturally because he's immortal and using it to power their technology. I think they are responsible for the rise of the Calamity, the Hylians.
What if we found out he was actually like the original king? And
No, he's a Gerudo. He's the king of the Gerudo.
right, but what if they were the world shapers and God, more or less? What if that's what he was? And every single time you go to fight him, you're in conflict with God himself.
Now, Skyward Sword set all the records straight. Ganon is the embodiment of pure evil.
Okay, fair enough.
He is malice incarnate.
Yeah, Satan. So,
Yeah.
Satan, you're going to war with Satan himself. Maybe it's just maybe he's a concept. Maybe that's what he is.
But I think in the same way, Majora's Mask kind of twisted the Ocarina of Time story into something a little darker and a little freakier.
It did.
I think that's what this game might do. with the Ganondorf that we've seen, clearly imprisoned, clearly having some kind of energy siphoned away from a wound in his chest, which he got long ago in another game, he's immortal.
Right.
He's been in him personally has been in every one of these games except Skyward Sword in some way or another, because in Skyward Sword it was Demise. And Demise is the power that, keeps Ganon immortal. So
Energico.
yeah. So I think they have created the problem that they've been having. And that at the end of the last game, Zelda makes a point to say, after you fight Calamity Ganon, when you fight the big pig monster Ganon at the end of the game, Dark Beast Ganon, she says he has given up on reincarnation to assume his pure enraged form. Given up on reincarnation might mean that the embodiment of Calamity Ganon can no longer exist. That's why Ganondorf awakens.
And now you have to kill him again.
Well, Ganondorf's a whole different type of ball game, right? Calamity Ganon, in the way it's presented in Breath of the Wild, is an energy force,
Right.
like a thing like Sauron that's trying to get a physical form again. Ganondorf is the immortal embodiment of the human,
Right.
that has given rise to that power over the years. That's a whole different ball. He's like a sorcerer, one of the most powerful practitioners of magic in all of Hyrule.
Ever.
So this could be a whole different, the idea of going from what we did fighting Calamity Ganon to going back to Ganondorf, the man, and a real sword fight with Ganondorf. I think the last time they did that really well was Twilight Princess. The last phase of the boss fight with Ganon is just a sword fight between him and Link. And it's brilliant. It was done really well. It's challenging, but not, frustrating. I think they found a really good mix, and I would love to see something like that again. I hope.
Gonna.
Those are my thoughts.
You're gonna take the shards of the Narsil and sever the finger of Sauron. Saruman, I'm sorry.
I think reforging the Master Sword is going to be a big part of the game, and I'm looking forward to that too.
They're just making Lord of the Rings. That's all they're doing. We're gonna find out that there's a ring, and that Link has to take it
no rings
to Mount Doom.
No, there's no rings.
Gonna
It's
happen.
Hyrule.
Yeah.
Hyrule. It's Link, the spirit of the hero.
He's gonna take it to Mount Doom.
He carries the spirit of the hero, man.
So did Frodo Baggins and a ring.
Now, Frodo Baggins was just a hobbit. The hobbits
Yeah,
were
he
more
was-
resilient than the other races. People underestimated them.
I was gonna
because they
say
were
it,
tiny.
I don't think that they were necessarily more resilient. They were
No, they were.
unsuspecting.
Hobbits are more resilient to the mind control effects of the ring.
why
he
the
gave
mind control.
That's why he
Okay.
gave it to Frodo to guard and hide in the first place. They're just more resilient to it. It's why Frodo can carry it for so long before it starts corrupting him. Shit, Boromir touches it once and it corrupts him.
No, he had the human boner for it,
You know
for
what
sure.
I mean? Though?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
The hobbits are just a little more resilient to the corrupting influence of the ring.
Resistant or resilient. Okay.
Resistant.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess. Like, imagine in terms of like tabletop role playing, they have,
+3 to
yeah.
the saving throw.
they have a good saving throw against mind intrusion.
And Link, he is the saving throw. That's what Link is. He is the spirit of the hero.
That's actually something that I think it's cool that we finally have clarification on, right? Because of what Skyward Sword told us, Demise inhabits the body of Ganon, therefore Ganon is immortal. Therefore, every Ganon across every game is the same Ganon. Zelda is descendant from the goddess Hylia. So every daughter in her line will carry the blood of the goddess. And they name them all Zelda. It's why I don't understand why they never tell us Zelda's mom's name. It's because it's Zelda.
It was
right?
Zelda.
It would just be Zelda. They name all the children Zelda, all the girl children Zelda. In any case.
This is my daughter, Zelda, and this is my oldest daughter, Zelda.
Yes. If you're a girl and born to the royal family, your name is Zelda. So
We're going to get this right.
Zelda is a genealogy, right? She is the goddess reborn time and time again. Link is the soul of that first hero that when Ganon rises again, finds a champion, whatever timeline Ganon rises in, and inhabits the body of that champion. It's always Link, right? I guess it doesn't have to always be Link, because in the old games, you could name Link whatever you want.
Yeah.
His name is Link, but I can name him
I could
Fart
name
Knocker
ass face.
if I wanted to.
I could name
Fart
him
Knocker.
ass face.
If I wanted to,
Yeah.
which I probably did when I was 9 playing the game, because I thought it was funny to hear people say, "Hey, Fart Knocker."
He's like, and Fart Knocker thrust his sword into Ganon, delivering
They
the
did
final
that with
blow.
the Final Fantasy games. They always let us choose the names of the Final Fantasy characters. Oh man, we made up some terrible names for some of those
it's
Final
'cause,
Fantasy
when
characters.
when you're a kid, you're an asshole by default. Like everybody's like, kids are sweet, and no, you're pretty awful by default. So then it shows not in your interactions with your friends. It shows in your fucking names that you pick for video games.
Yeah. I know. I always named, like when I played Final Fantasy VII a lot, I always named Cloud my name because I wanted
Everybody
to embody
did, yeah.
the hero, right? But then you have like Tifa, who's like Cloud's girl,
Yeah, and you're like,
so it's just Cloud's girl. Or you had Barrett, who was basically Shaft, so his name was just Shaft. I mean, he was. In fact, when they did the remake and they finally gave him a voice, I was just like, yeah, Shaft. That's what I always envisioned him being
Nick
anyway.
Fury.
Yeah, like it's who he is, right? Like that's how I always envisioned him. If I was going to envision a real person embodying Barrett, it would be Samuel L. Jackson.
Getting these motherfucking snakes off this motherfucking plane.
Right? But yeah, so I guess to wind it around to the conclusion, I am very much looking forward to whatever this game has in store.
Well, there's one thing that we didn't talk about yet, and that's swimming through ceilings.
Oh, well, yeah, one of the abilities they showed off in the gameplay trailer is the ability to,
Ceiling swim.
to any room that has a ceiling.
Anything
apparently.
with it, anything with the ceiling. He's like, you see that fucking cave right there? Oh, it looks like there's a hilltop on it. Let's see if we can use it here.
And he just goes up through the mountain, like passing through the rock. Like
it was so crazy looking though. It almost looked like he was going into hyperspace.
yeah, he's just like swimming through the rock. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's one ability, and then the rewinding time we saw in the gameplay trailer. So those are two abilities that we've seen in other trailers as well. We saw one where he, some enemies had pushed a rock down a hill at him, and he froze it and rewound it and threw it back at them. So that's cool, right? It's interesting. Right. But those are the only two abilities we've seen so far, and we know that in the original, in Breath of the Wild, you had 4. You had bombs, stasis, Cryonis, and Magnesis. You had 4. And then you had the little camera, which was another function. And then eventually the Master Cycle 0 when you got that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, literally, one of the rewards for the DLC was a motorcycle. That you could ride around the
map.
What
if we put a fucking dirt bike in the game? I think Link would like a dirt bike.
It's a dirt bike. You could do little wheelies. You could do the little stoppy wheelie where you stop and the back wheel comes up.
It's like you
could shoot arrows from it.
Isn't it Mario Kart where you can build the horse? It looks like a horse with wheels.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
it looks like a unicorn and it has wheels on it and a drive shaft.
Thanks, Mario Kart.
Yeah. But yeah, so we've only seen a little bit of whatever new abilities, and it seems like because he doesn't have the Sheikah Slate anymore, it seems like his abilities are coming from his messed up arm.
Yeah.
That like gets rebuilt with some kind of ancient technology. Yeah, I mean,
his golem arm or whatever robot arm.
Yeah, like it looks like the stuff we've seen within like the Guardians tech, right? It has that same kind of glow to it. People are saying that the Zonai are going to play a big part in the story because there's a whole part in the Breath of the Wild map in the Faron region where there's like these ancient ruins of a civilization that once lived there called the Zonai. And the Zonai like refused to bend the knee to Hyrule's king, so they just left Hyrule. I think we're going to find out they went into the sky.
They went in the sky.
They found a way to go to the sky.
And Link's name is actually Luke. He's a Skywalker.
Whatever. I will agree with Aonuma when he falls off the big sky island and he's just like, well, let's just fall back down. I was just like, it does look really fun to just
when he's
free fall from the sky.
He's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens down here now.
Yeah, like we're just gonna go back to the ground now. It looks fun.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play it. I actually need to play on my Switch a little bit here just to reconnect with the system because it's brilliant.
Just to replay Breath of the Wild? Is that what I heard? Because that's what I'm planning to do.
I need to just play
in the interim months.
I need to play Breath of the Wild because I've not beginning to end that shit at all. At all. I got like 7 minutes into that game and I was like, this is fucking huge. I'm going to go eat some wings.
7 minutes in, you haven't even seen the scope yet.
That's correct.
You're only on the Great Plateau. That's the little intro area that you can't leave until you get all the abilities.
I think I got all the abilities and got off the Great Plateaus where I think I got.
So you meet the king and it gives you the paraglider.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
glide down to the world.
I'm pretty sure that's as far as I got. And then I was like, this is good. All right.
Well, that takes more than 7 minutes. So.
Maybe.
Just saying, the Great Plateau, even if you just went from shrine to shrine to shrine to shrine, you're still talking about a half hour or so.
Well, okay. 30 minutes.
Half hour, 40 minutes.
Did my grind.
7 minutes.
Did my grind. And
you haven't even done one shrine in 7 minutes.
Fucking nerd.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that it's, Nintendo, right? I mean, it got delayed. It was supposed to come out in 2022. It got delayed to 2023. But what Aonuma said in the gameplay video is development is done. It's finished, right? We're not, I'm sure there'll be DLC in the same way there was for the first game, but the main game is finished. And I respect Nintendo. I wish they would stop giving things release dates if they're going to inevitably have to push them back. But Nintendo rarely does that. Nintendo will just say 2022 and then, 2023. And then now we have an actual day. Right, and we're going to hit that day.
March 14th, here you go.
Yeah, so I respect Nintendo in that regard of when they finally usually do give things a solid release date, they usually hit it. We've had, Skull and Bones is a perfect example from Ubisoft. That game's had 4 release dates and hasn't hit any one of them.
Yeah, fuck that.
So there was even a tie-in comic book that came out the week that game was actually supposed to come out.
Oh, no.
And it didn't come out.
That's
so the tie-in comic book has whatever. It's just a comic book now. It's not tying into anything.
Tied into the space where that game was supposed to be. That's incredible.
But so yeah, I have never been disappointed by a AAA Nintendo product, one of their franchise Marios or Metroids or Zeldas or Kirby's or any of those.
They give a shit about them. It shows.
They care about their
It
IP.
shows.
They're big IPs.
They do for sure.
So when they say it's done, I believe them. I'm excited to get my hands on it finally. I'm excited that hearing that it's done means it's not going to be moving from the release date. It's gonna hit that release date. I'm ready. There's one game in between that I'm gonna have to play, and it's Jedi Survivor. But that's gonna be a quick little game. It's a little Star Wars game. It's great. I'm sure it's gonna be fun.
How do you know it's gonna be little?
I don't know. The first one was only like a 40, 50 hour game.
It was only 40 or 50 hours. It was one whole work week.
To finish Breath of the Wild, to say you're done and there's nothing more to do, you're talking 80 to 100 hours.
That's fucking crazy. That's why I don't want to play that goddamn game all the way through. That's why you get off the...
But that's not what I'm saying.
I beat the game when I got off the Great Plateau.
That's not what I'm saying, first of all, and you know it.
I know.
If you just want to go through and do the story stuff and finish the game, yeah, you can do that in like 30, 40 hours. No doubt. But if you actually want to experience what Breath of the Wild is, yeah, you're talking like 80, 60, 80, 100 hours. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff to do.
312 hours is logged by his Nintendo.
It's too much.
But
yeah, I mean, when
you're
a game...
talking about playing through again, you're like, yeah, I'm going to have to revisit Breath of the Wild.
When a game is designed to be that large,
right?
Great. Right? I don't like the idea of games recently that have padded out their runtime to make them that large, to make us feel like they're larger. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed games. Because I'll tell you, I like Valhalla. I think it's a great game. But by the time I got to the end, the game should have been over 30 hours before
Right, he's like, that was fluff bullshit.
Right, you put in a lot of stuff that's just nonsense to pad out the runtime and make a 30, 40-hour game feel like a 60, 80-hour game. And that's not okay. If the 60, 80 hours are filled with substance, great. But if you're just using nonsense fetch quests and escort missions to pad out your runtime, screw you.
He's like, where the fuck's my cutscene?
Yeah. Excuse me. But, again, I've never had any complaints about AAA Nintendo titles, so I'm here. I'm excited.
Okay, nerds. So
yes,
let us know if you're so excited about Zelda and other AAA Nintendo titles And if so, what are you most excited for that's coming up in the future here? There's a few things right on the horizon. We've touched on some of them recently.
We did that episode a while back about games.
We did.
Upcoming games.
There's a lot out there that's going to be happening very soon. You can go to entertainthegeeky.com to follow us on all of our social media and to pick up a free copy of Merle's Truck Stop in Maine by using the promo code Geek.
Right
Geeky.
there. Over there. There you go. There it is.
So you can use promo code Geeky to get your free copy of Merle's Truck Stop in Maine. We will be doing a playthrough on that soon. Finding the right group is something that we've been struggling with a little bit. That's mostly my fault. I'm going to level with you guys. I had a couple of people that I thought would be perfect, and just scheduling conflicts have made it really difficult.
Yes. We're adults and we have lives.
Yeah, it sucks.
We spend too much of them playing video games, apparently, though.
Or too much of them at work.
Oh, yeah. A third of our lives at work.
It's bullshit, dude. You feel cheated at the end of it. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. As always, stay geeky. So
Bonus content. Sorry, I can't help it.
no, it's perfect. You have to do it. I don't have to have a pre-recorded one to lay on it now.
Right,
Because
sure.
it's just there.
Yeah.
Because I know Jason's going to do it.
I'm helping you out. Less work for you, bud.
Making my job easy.
Less work for you, bud. That's what I'm here for.
Oh shit! There was something that I had been thinking about while we were recording, and it totally eluded me. Fuck! Doesn't that suck?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, but when your brains don't work right because you're getting old, I think that's what I'm experiencing.
Yeah, we're
It's-
getting old.
It's like dementia. I think.
I'm getting older than you.
I mean, yeah, a couple years.
I'll be 40 this year, man.
Yeah, that's fucked up. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to do it.
We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to do it.
Well, it's like when you go to kiss somebody for the first time. If you talk about it, it's just going to make it awkward. You just kind of just have to dive in. So that's what we're going to do with fucking getting old. We're just going to dive in. It's
I feel
just
like
going to happen.
I feel like the first kiss with Corey, I talked about it and it was awkward, and that was something that was endearing to her.
Really?
Yeah.
You were like, I am going to make a kiss on you now. And she was like,
No, like I feel like
"Ooh."
it was something to the effect of, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been on a date in a long time, and I'm not really sure what the protocol is. At the end of the night, as I'm dropping you off at home, and if I
That's-
remember right, I think she just leaned in to kiss me instead.
That's totally different. That was you trying to be a gentleman.
Well, but it was awkward. I didn't know what to do. You know,
Right. But you also, you're like, okay, you obviously really liked this girl. You thought she was cute. So then you go on a date together and you're like, do I fucking kiss her? Does that make me a piece of shit? Is she going to want to talk to me again
I
after
don't
that?
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
you just
Do I
never
shake
know.
her hand? Like,
Yeah.
what do I do at the end
Can't
of this?
read minds. I don't know how she's feeling.
I shook Tara's hand the first time we met.
That's lame. You're
Super lame. Super lame.
Just kidding. You're not lame.
It is so lame,
You're
dude.
not
But I
lame.
was like, hi. And she was like, hey.
But yeah, we went out on a date and we got home, and yeah, I dropped her off at home, and I wasn't really sure about the protocol because I hadn't been on a date in a long time. That was the first time I'd gone on a date in like years.
And now here we are years later.
And yeah, she's my wife. So
You tricked
I
her
worked
into
out.
marriage, and
I
she
tricked
watches
her.
you play video games.
I tricked her. I did. I gave her this total false reality of who I am, and now she just has a boring, fat old husband who sits on the couch playing video games all day.
And you're like, you're going to sit there and watch me, and you're going to pretend to like it.
I don't know that she actually does like it, but she is good at pretending that she does. If she's pretending, she's very good at it.
She likes you, and that's all that matters
I think,
there.
yeah, I think that's the reality. Plus, I mean, games nowadays, when we talked about that when we did the game episode a few weeks ago, or however long ago that was,
Mhm.
months probably at this point, games are entertaining when you cut out all the stuff in between the cutscenes. That's why there's whole YouTube videos of just watch the cutscenes.
That was literally our Last of Us one that we were talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Last of Us is, it's just cutscenes.
Because you said,
right?
dude, the
watch
show's just cutscenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can totally agree with that. Like, if you're just catching those, oh, okay, so let's see what the
big
story
cinematic
is now.
moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if there's like there's sometimes where you can watch a cool fight in a video game and it's rad. Like watching you fight some big flesh abomination might be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm doing good in the fight,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
If I'm doing bad in
if
the
he's
fight,
raking you over the coals,
Yes.
it's probably not as
it's
cool.
probably not entertaining. It's probably hilarious at that point.
Do you think do you think she would ever look at you and be like, God, you fight like such a bitch?
I don't think she would ever use those words, but there's definitely been times that she has witnessed me not on the top of my game,
Right,
or it just gets away from you, and you just can't get it back.
You have moments where you can't play for shit, and then you have other moments where you're like, I think I'm going pro.
Yeah, where you're just killing it.
Yeah.
She says all the time when I will get done with something really big, right, or a big fight or a hard fight, wow, you made that look easy. And my response is always, it wasn't, because it's not, right? Like, I understand it looks easy.
You look at her and
but
you're
it
like,
is not easy.
now you kiss me because I'm your hero.
I always tell her she just needs to play. I'm just like, you need to play. And you can see how easy it is, right? It's easy. Look how easy I'm making it look, right? You said I made it look easy.
And then she's like,
It's not easy.
Which one controls the camera? Which one controls the player?
Well, in Resident Evil 4, the
Yeah.
remake incorporates the parry option with your knife,
Oh,
where you
God.
hit L1 right before a hit's about to connect. And you can parry almost anything in the game. You can even parry the big Garrador's Vega claws on their hand when they come at you all crazy.
Holy shit.
You can chink, parry it away. So if you're doing well in a battle, it does look like you're
You
a
look fucking
master.
unstoppable.
Yeah, it does look like you're a master at this, right? Like, oh, shoot that guy, kick that guy in the face. Oh, block that guy, kick that guy in the face. Like, throw the grenade over at those guys. Like, it does make you look like you're a real badass.
Look away after you throw the grenade because you're that cool. You already know they're blowing up.
Cool guys don't look at explosions. They turn their backs and walk away.
And that's exactly what I do when I play video games.
Well, I mean, hell, that might be true because 9 times out of 10,
You're doing something
if
else.
you've thrown a grenade at a group of enemies, it's because there was a bunch of them over there, but there's still a couple at your back you got to turn around and deal with now that you've let that grenade go.
So you do the cool guy thing.
So you turn around and you walk away.
You light a cigarette in game.
It's a good game though, man. It really is fun. I in a week or so, I will get Capuano on here to come and review it with us.
I'm excited to have him on it.
I mean, you haven't played it yet, so
No, I'm not going to play it.
thanks. All right,
I'm just being honest with you. So here, I don't even
dedication to being a nerd right there.
So I'm a PC gamer, and like if I game on there, and I'm not going to do a 40-hour game in that time. I know I won't.
Resident Evil 4 is not a 40-hour game, first of all.
Okay, well I thought it was.
I mean, it can be if you do all the side content, like me.
Well, yeah, you get every fucking dime out
Games
of
are
that
expensive,
game.
bro.
I know, and you get all the money out
I want to
of them.
experience everything the game has to offer before I can say I'm done.
It's like, damn, that was a good game. They're like, we had to make DLC just for you, bud.
I mean, you want to get your money's worth out of games, you know?
Games
are expensive.
I don't disagree. They're very expensive.
Yeah, they're getting more expensive. Shit. It's the regular $60 price tag that has pretty much been the standard for the last decade or so is now $70 on PS5 and Xbox Series X games.
Well, that's one of those things that kind of blows my mind with it because their expenditure on physical copies has gone down drastically.
Yeah, but they still release them because they're still weirdos like me and Capuano who just prefer to have the physical copy of the game.
I don't disagree with that at all. Here,
Yeah.
I like collecting things. I like something tangible. So
Yeah, I like
with
seeing
music,
my shelf full of games.
music, I'll go buy a CD or a record or whatever so I can have an album.
CD. What are you, 1992?
Yes. Yes. I reached
I know,
out.
me too.
I reached out to a band recently and I was like, hey, when you guys did this album, you released some bonus content or some bonus songs for it. Bonus content.
Bonus content.
I'm like, you did some bonus songs. I'm like, but I can't seem to find one of your CDs with that. Did you make one? Like,
They probably laughed at you. Like, what are you, an old man?
fucking.
CDs.
They're like, dude, just get on YouTube.
digital. It's digital, bro.
Dumbass. Yeah. No, I want the fucking CD with those songs.
Yeah, I mean, I still put CDs in my CD player in my truck.
I didn't have one for years. It's been like 5 or 6 years since I've had a CD player in car.
I mean, I don't buy new cars though, I guess. So that's
Yeah,
the
no, we
difference.
have, but I just bought an old car.
Yeah, old cars all have
Got a
CD
fucking
players.
CD
Yeah,
player,
old
and
cars
it's
all do.
great.
It's just like old cars used to all have tape players.
Oh yeah, the
Shit,
cassette.
my CD player, I think, is a combination. I think you can put a tape down at the bottom too.
God damn right you can.
I think you can.
Like God intended.
But yeah,
Fucking-
we're old. We're old.
Yeah.
CDs, it's not a thing anymore.
It is to me. No, this year
all
actually,
digital.
records outsold CDs for the first time since 1987.
Yeah,
Fun fact.
everyone's all
No,
into the
everybody
retro
because they want to collect.
Yeah,
That's what it is. Everybody wants to collect.
yeah. And I'm always going to collect games and comic books and have the physical thing in my hand. I'm not a digital guy.
No, I love having physical copies of stuff, and I think it's important to us as human beings to have things that we can't take with us when we die.
Yeah.
So that somebody has to sort through that shit.
Yeah, I have a customer who, he comes in, he buys plenty of physical comics, but he reads a lot on digital as well. And I love the guy. He's a great guy. I think he's funny. He's into the same kind of stuff I'm into. We like a lot of the same things. But every time he tells me about something he's waiting for on digital, he's like he's stabbing me in the heart.
You don't say that in this place. This is a place of business.
I'll just wait and get that one on DC Universe. Like,
this isn't a place of digital. You don't ever say that in your fuck face.
No, I respect it though. If you want to do it that way, do it that way. I don't want to do it that way, and I don't prefer that people do. But it's your life. You do what you got to do.